Welcome again to this 39th class of the Florida Hospital Family Medicine Residency Program graduation this year. So thank you so much for coming. This evening we're going to have Dr. Chris Gray, one of the prominent physicians in the community and someone who spoke highly into the lives of our graduates, come and open up our devotion. So Dr. Gray, if you would.
But first of all, good afternoon to everybody. I don't see anybody who's soaked, and I think that's a good sign. What I'd like to do tonight is start by reading a short verse from the Bible, from the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all else will follow. Before we get into celebrating congratulations, awards, diplomas, honors, I'd like for us to take just a few minutes and reflect on the real reason that you've just spent the better part of your lives studying, gaining knowledge, skill in your medical profession. You wanted to be doctors, and now you are. But more than that, you wanted to be healers. So how do you become a healer and not just a doctor? In fact, what's the difference? Is it possible to be an excellent doctor and still not be a fully effective healer? As a doctor, you have built a vast storehouse of knowledge and taken a long time to do it. You will continue to add to that knowledge, updating, modifying it so that you have the most comprehensive and evidence-based skills possible. Starting next week, you'll truly be putting those skills into real practice. But as you take a history, as you examine a patient, order tests, write prescriptions, will you actually be healing them? Will you be a healer? Healing implies that there's an illness, a disease, or an injury, a patient that needs to be restored to their original state. And the definition that I like best for the act of healing is that it's restoring a damaged relationship, a relationship that's been disrupted by bacteria, by trauma, or even by poor diet or lack of exercise. This can be at the cellular level, even at the molecular level, in treating an infection, repairing a laceration, or it can be on an interpersonal level, as in treating someone for depression or treating marital conflicts. Restoration of a relationship requires a special connection between the healer and the one that needs the healing. And since a healer offers healing, they themselves must have a healthy relationship with their world in order to positively impact the state of the patient. Back in the days of the New Testament, there was a man, very famous in his community. He was a magician, and his name was Simon. He amazed people with all of his tricks and his works that he did. And people followed him around. And then he saw the apostles healing people. And he thought, that looks pretty good. I think I would like to do that. So what did he do? He went and asked the apostles if he could buy their secret from them. Because he wanted to become even more famous, more wealthy. He wanted to be able to do these kinds of things that they were doing. But Peter let him know, as only Peter could, that it wasn't something he could buy. He had to have his own healthy spiritual relationship with God in order to be able to heal others. A doctor by the name of Warfield T. Longcoat, who was the third professor of medicine at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, he once wrote that even though a clinician has science, art, and craftsmanship, unless he is intensely interested in human beings, he is not likely to be a good doctor. Technical competence is necessary, but it's not in itself enough for healing. You, as the healer, must develop and maintain a strong spiritual relationship of your own. Remember, I said seek first the kingdom of God. Only then will you be able to share that part of you with your patient and provide to them complete healing, not just restoration of their physical health. Many of you know who Daniel Solmasi was or is. He's a physician, he's also a Franciscan friar, and he's done a lot of writing and speaking on the topic of healing. I think he said it best. He said, healing requires a recognition of the human face of each person one sets out to heal, and a communication of the message that both the healer and the healed share a bond that ties them to each other through their humanity, their mortality, and the God-given spark of grace that lives in each of them. Let's pray. Lord, I want to thank you for the privilege that we have of being here this afternoon. Particularly, I want to thank you for those that are graduating. It's been a long road for them. They've put a lot of work and effort, and they've had a lot of support from family, friends, and relatives. Most importantly, we want them to be able to see what their mission is as they leave here and go out into practice. Help them to understand the difference between treating patients and healing patients, and in so doing, heal themselves as well.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Portuguese. Joe Portuguese started his auspicious career here in Winter Park as a general surgeon, and then when Florida Hospital expanded its graduate medical education efforts to start a residency program in general surgery, Joe jumped on the bandwagon and said, "Sign me up." I'm sure that's exactly how it went, right? Joe was the program director for the general surgery, the inaugural program director, let me put it that way, for the general surgery program for several years, and then is now the chief academic officer for Florida Hospital. So the term herding cats comes to mind when you try and get a lot of physicians going in the same direction. We all like to go our own ways, and so Joe's done a great job here at our institution, and he's going to come and introduce our graduation speaker. Joe.
First, on behalf of the Florida Hospital Administration and Graduate Medical Education, let me extend my congratulations to the graduating class of family medicine resident physicians. You've done a fabulous job representing the institution tremendously, and we're very proud of you, so congratulations. I'd like to introduce our graduation speaker. John L. Micah was first elected to the United States Congress in November of 1992 to represent the 7th Congressional District of Florida. He is currently serving his 10th term in the 112th Congress. He was elected by his peers in the House of Representatives to serve as the chairman of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, one of the largest congressional committees. He is a graduate of the University of Florida and Miami-Dade College and has received 4 honorary doctorate degrees. He's established several successful business ventures, including real estate, communication, and international trade consulting. On a personal note, I first met him when he was running for office as we were establishing an Italian-American club here in town. So with that background, you know he's a great guy. So, Representative Mike.
Thank you for inviting me to come and address these folks tonight. Right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and getting that recognition that you've waited so long for, your residency, that you can actually practice. I'm the dividing line between you not making money and you possibly making money. I'm the dividing line between your family supporting you through this endeavor and you getting to a position where you can do it on your own and actually practicing medicine and actually having had the residency that allows you to practice. So I know this is an exciting day in your life. A little rain out there, but a lot of things come, as you heard in the opening remarks, from sometimes a little bit of water and a little bit of tears and hard work, and this is that occasion. I think in all of our lives there are special occasions you remember, and tonight there's are going to be recognized with their residency. This is one of those occasions, and most of the family will recognize them. You know, you have the births, the deaths, the marriages in your family, and then these milestones in your careers, and tonight's one of them. I didn't come with any incredible pearls of wisdom. In fact, I jotted down a few things that I thought might be kind of interesting for you that I've had through my journey in life. I was talking to Dr. Needham on the time we had to share before this began, and he was telling me he's from Emory. He hasn't been here that long, but Emory University, I guess, in Georgia. And I was thinking of Emory University, again, occasions in which we all remember. I was a high school student, a member of a debate team from my high school in Miami. Went to Emory University. This is back in the 50s, before half the audience was born. And I heard at this, on this weekend in a symposium, Eleanor Roosevelt, who had been the First Lady of the United States, speak. And I still remember that as if it was today. So that's my memory of a very special occasion. And again, you won't remember the speaker today, but you will remember this occasion. And then Joe told you a little bit about our backgrounds. Joe and I met. He's an Italian-American. I'm Italian-American. My grandparents were all immigrants. Micah actually is not an Italian name. It's they came from what's now Czechoslovakia. My great-grandfather was a brewer in Vienna, and they lived off in what is now the Slovak Republic. So Joe's family is from Bari and Naples, part of his family, and mine is from just south of Naples. And when you talk about the success of these leaders, academics, and also of the program, you see varied backgrounds. In this audience today, you have incredible, an incredible variety of ethnic backgrounds of folks that came, some recently, some maybe generations ago. And isn't that the incredible part of this, the opportunity that this country gives us all? People around the earth would just do anything to come here. They actually do try to come here. They'll crawl across borders. They'll be cramped in a ship hull. They will do anything they can to be here. Imagine what life could be like if they could have the opportunity that all of you in this room have had. And no matter how hard you're struggling, I know some of you struggle very difficult to get to this point in your life. Again, you are some of the most blessed people that have probably ever walked the face of the earth. You're some of the most accomplished people that mankind will ever allow to walk the face of the earth, because you are in a healing practice, and you have you've learned the hard way in academic courses, and now you've learned the hard way through your residency. I was telling some of the folks that I was in real estate. You heard some of my background. I hold some properties in Central Florida, also in Washington. I developed, and I rent to a young man who's actually graduating from his residency this month too. So I know a little bit about what life is like for him. I have rarely seen him, because he leaves usually at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and he comes back usually at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night. And he does that day after day. Now I know you guys are limited to what, 80 hours? Is that true? But again, I do know how difficult it is and how devoted you have to be to what you have undertaken as your life's vocation and calling. Now I've got a couple of things, and I'm going to end this pretty quickly, but since we've got folks that are going to be physicians, MDs, you're going to reverse that trend, the outflow of the money. Hopefully the income will be there. I got to give you some advice dealing with the doctors that I have dealt with. First of all, doctors and physicians are the worst investors I have ever met. So be very cautious with your investments. One of my best friends, he lived not too far from me, is a doctor, and he gave his money, this is a true story, he gave his money for someone to invest. The guy ripped him off. He ended up hiring a hitman to take him out. I think some of the local guys know who I'm talking about. He ended up with one of those electronic cuffs on him, and that didn't work out too because he wasn't the best person to put in a cuff, but electronic cuff. But my word of caution is be cautious as investors in the future. Almost all the doctors I know, they're very good at practicing medicine and healing people and being great citizens, but they're lousy investors. So that's my first word of caution. My second word of caution is people in medicine are the worst involved in politics and actually lobbying and getting their point across. Let me tell you some examples. I deal with them all the time. And those of you who may know me or have heard of me, I'm a very frank individual. I don't gloss, sugarcoat. I tell people pretty much the way it is. Some of them like me for that, some of them don't. But when things happen in Washington, they get a letter from me. As you know, that one of the big things is reimbursement for physician services. That has been a challenge, and Congress is always leaving physicians all medical providers on the short end of the stick, particularly physicians, where they have to go back begging and pleading to get an adjustment to automatic cuts that they've endured time after time again. So I'm pretty candid in my telling doctors that they just don't have their act together. And I sent doctors a word of that I thought that they were groveling for some of this reimbursement increase. And I said, in fact, that the federal janitors that clean up our public buildings get more predictable increases in compensation than they do. So I tell you that because you face a challenge in a profession that provides great service to humanity, provides great healing for people, but is poorly compensated. And I'm not sure how that will change. And I also tell you that doctors have a tough time getting their message across. So my advice to you is try to work to, get your point across. As a very competitive society, and you're in a very important profession for the future that does need to be adequately reimbursed. So our process and our political process also requires that you become engaged, even if you don't think you have the time or skill or aptitude to do that. So those are two little points that I make today to you. Although if I was as young as some of you, I'd go out and invest in every bit of real estate I could get my hands on. I know right now that seems difficult when you're just starting out your careers. Having looked at the short and long term since I came here in 1972, there are incredible opportunities right now that will never exist again. So that's my little last word of counsel. And then now this issue of me standing between you and receiving your residency credentials tonight. I do want to leave you with some advice for the future that was handed along to me some time ago. My first job in the private sector worked for a gentleman who was elderly, set sort of in his ways, and he had a doctor, Dr. Bracestead, and he used to give me a hard time. Everything was square done according to certain but I heard him speak many times, and he would often leave graduates and others with little advice. And his little advice is something I pass on to just about every graduating class or students that I talk to. His advice was pretty simple, and it really determines a lot of what happens with you in your life. You've got, as I said, great opportunities. Look at what you've accomplished today. Anything's possible. You can do, if you live in the United States, just about anything that you want to do, that you make your mind up to do, it's all possible. But these 10 two-letter words that he transmitted to me and he transmitted to others in his comments, I thought are something that is very important to guide you in life. His 10 two-letter words were this: if it is to be, it is up to me. Pretty simple, isn't it? If it is to be, it is up to me. Now, in the wonderful prayer and opening of Dr. Gray, he mentioned that a greater being does have so much say in our lives, and we are. I don't think you could walk the face of the earth without realizing that there's some force or there's some power greater to us. And many religions have different names, but we do know that the good Lord and the power above us has made things possible for us. And it's also made things possible for us to do for ourselves. And we can be the masters of our own fate. Again, if it is to be, it is up to me. I pass along to you for a guideline in your future. Now, finally, you are blessed. You're blessed to be here tonight. You're blessed that you've had the support of your family. You're blessed that you could be in a beautiful facility like Florida Hospital, an incredible healing institution that is strong in faith and strong in relationships, personal relationships that you've had in this past experience and you'll have, and they'll grow in the future. So again, I wish you well. I thank you for again achieving this incredible milestone in your life. I thank you for inviting me to join you tonight in this special occasion in your lives. So with that, I thank you. I wish you Godspeed, and may God bless you, your family, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you again, Congressman Micah. We're going to move along to the awards that we have in the residency program, and then each of the 2 fellowships will come up and graduate their fellows, and then we'll have our family medicine residents graduate with us. On the back of your program, you've got the awards that are there. And for a mere $50, I can give you one that has all the names, but so the first set of awards in the family medicine residency program is for residents in each class who best represent the discipline of family medicine. This is not a best academics, it's not a best clinician, it's an overall award for those individuals who we as a faculty, we as residents feel are best step forward. And so starting out with the Resident of the Year and the Intern Year, the Resident of the Year is Dr. Maria Godoy. In the second year class, our resident of the year is Dr. Craig Young. all, but as one of our rising chief residents, I'm sure he was able to finagle the schedule. And our third-year resident of the year, also one of our current chief residents, is Dr. Elizabeth Sassy. As part of the large residency program, we have about 50 physicians. We have 39 residents and 12 faculty physicians and 2 other professionals who are in our program. So we've got a large staff to support. This year we were able to select 2 awards, both for a clinician staff as well as an administrative staff award. And so the Outstanding Office Staff Award going to one of our nurses is Ms. Mary Hall. Unfortunately, she was not able to make it. The other award goes to our clinic staff, and the clinic staff, excuse me, I got those awards backwards. So Mary Hall is the clinic staff. Our office staff award, we have several staff members who help support the administrative functions of our residency program. And the award voting was split. And so the 2 nominees and selections for our award are Miss Jacqueline Malcolm Myers and Miss Christine Joseph. Unfortunately, they weren't able to be here either. Residents should know where their desks are, and we'll put the TV right next to their desk so you can TV their chairs, whatever you need to do there. They have done a wonderful job in supporting the residency program, and we could not do it without them. Amen. We also want to recognize those graduates who have served as chief residents and our Residency Association president. The chief residents are selected by the faculty, and the Residency Association president is selected by the residents. The Residency Association president is Dr. Latara Atwell. Our 2 chief residents are Dr. Elizabeth Sassy and Dr. Morhoff Alashkar. We now have the privilege of announcing some awards for our faculty members. The faculty are folks who could be making the big money in real estate, but have chosen to dedicate their lives to teaching. We continue to see patients ourselves, but pour our lives into graduating our residents who can go out and see patients themselves. I think it's the Chinese proverb that says, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime. You knew there was going to be a fishing story in there somewhere. And for more pictures, I don't know. Anyway, there are several awards that it's an extreme privilege for me to announce these awards. And so the residents have voted on several awards. The first award is for our inpatient teaching. This particular individual spends a large majority of her time taking care of patients in the hospital. also the elderly, and doing some home rounds. Actually, it's an old-fashioned doc going into people's homes who are not able to get out and be able to provide care for them at their point of need. So it gives me great pleasure to announce that Dr. Menazani is going to be our intervention. Our Outpatient Teaching Award likewise goes to a new faculty member who has come on recently. He has a special skill in sports medicine in addition to providing full service in the hospital. There's a passion that's there, and this particular individual is quick to volunteer in the community with doing our physical exams at Winter Park High School. He's gotten out and supported the Disney Marathon. He's doing some things with other opportunities in the community. So without further ado, Dr. Doug McDonald is our Outpatient Teacher of the Year award. And Doug's not available this evening. The last award that we have for our faculty is for our didactics education. Once a week we have a 4-hour section that we bring the residents in and give them teaching on whether it's heart failure or depression or pediatric rashes or whatever it might be to augment both the clinical education as well as a didactic selection piece. This particular individual has been invited to give talks at the American Academy of Family Physicians Annual Scientific Assembly. Spoke this past year in Orlando and is scheduled to speak in Philadelphia this next year. So while we are a community hospital, we have faculty who have regional and national reach. And so without further ado, it gives me a great pleasure to announce that Dr. David Koo is our same height, same selection and suit, same colored shirt and tie. Not planned at all. In addition to our family medicine faculty, we have to have the input of our non-family physician faculty to teach us on our rotation. So we do general surgery at the VA, when we do internal medicine at Florida Hospital Orlando, when we do pediatrics. We have a multitude of physicians who are speaking into the lives of our graduates. And so this year we are fortunate to select Dr. Fabian Rossi as our Outpatient Teacher of the Year award. Unfortunately, he's not able to make it either. Several awards in closing in this section. We have 2 awards that the residency program has traditionally given out. The Wise Old Owl Award. One of our previous faculty was an excellent wood carver, and actually every year would carve a small little owl, and that became the Wise Old Owl Award. Unfortunately, my skills at our carving are not quite commensurate to that would be needed to have an award. I could give a fishing lure, but we're not going to do that here. This award goes to a resident who, in addition to having academic excellence, patient care excellence, also has a measure and a depth of maturity that just is outstanding. This particular individual has also been selected to go into further fellowship training after graduation, and it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brad Brown as our Wise. Well done. Very well done. The last award of this section is the Vlado Gidding Community Service Award. In our residency program, we require up to 40 hours of community service for each of our graduates. This can be accomplished through many different areas. We help out with the Disney Marathon. We do sports physicals in the community for those in need. Recently, I had several folks with me doing some Salvation Army sports camp physicals and helping out with the sports teams that are available. So in addition to the training and the education that goes on in our Center for Family Medicine, one of the things we want to teach in family medicine is a heart of compassion, service, especially to those who are underprivileged. And so this particular individual has gone above and beyond, not only in these United States, but also outside the country. She's done mission work in the countries of Ecuador and Nicaragua. And so without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to announce that Dr. Tanya Velez is At this point, we're going to begin our graduation of our fellows, and it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ariel Cole as our Geriatrics Fellowship Director. Ariel is a graduate of our program and is further trained in geriatrics. She has a certificate of added qualification and is going to help out with or conduct the graduation of our fellowship graduates.
It's been a sincere pleasure working with these three ladies this past year. I say with pride that I know we have touched the lives of many of the elders in our community as a team, and I know in many ways they have made my life easier. So thank you to each of them. Let me start by acknowledging Robin Conner.
Dr. Jennifer Kebaugh is coming. She is our Women's Health Fellowship Director. Dr. Kebaugh was the Florida Academy of Family Physicians Physician of the Year in 2007, so this is the best of the best in Florida, and I welcome you to the stage.
Well, this is our second year for our Women's Health Fellowship, and Gigi, I gotta tell you, you got some big shoes to fill. I want to go over just a couple of things, some highlights of Dr. Hartman, and if she can just bear with me for a few minutes before we graduate her. Hopefully it'll work. I'm not as good as Koo. So those of you that know Melissa know that she has a heart for patients, mission in medicine. She's known for her amazing outlook and upbeat personality. She's always ready for anything. She has a beautiful smile. She loves to collaborate and be part of the team. She's a wonderful teacher. She's a magnificent motivator. Someone comes to motivate. Did you know she's run 5 marathons? She's a natural-born leader, teacher, and doctor. It's coming. Come on up, Melissa.
We now come to the part of the program where we do the graduation for the family medicine residents. For the residents, if you would, I'm going to announce you and we'll do some pictures here. If you'll then have a seat here in the front row, and after we're done with this portion, we'll have you come back up and take group pictures thereafter, so it'll be the most efficient use of our time. The first graduate that we have in the family medicine residency program is Dr. Morhoff Alashkar. Morhoff was one of our chief residents. Dr. Chris Gray is going to join me on the stage. Chris, as you know, was instrumental in the training of our graduating class, and one to make sure that we get in place as well. Our next graduate is Dr. Latara Atwell. Our next graduate is Dr. Bradley Duncan Brown. Duncan or McDuncan? Duncan. Our next graduate, I had the pleasure of working with about a month ago in the inpatient service, and I completely know she's ready to fly. This is Dr. Deepika Garg. Our next graduate is Dr. Diana Henry. Our next graduate is Dr. Tazmia Kareem Ahmed. Satomi Tongwing Lee.
Well done. Very well done.
Our next graduate is Dr. Matt Marsh.
Very well done, Matt. Congrats.
Our next graduate is Dr. Kashif Qureshi.
Very good.
Our next graduate is Dr. Natalie Elizabeth Ruff. Our next graduate is Dr. Elizabeth Vidison Sassy. Our second to last graduate is Dr. Dorothy Tata Oye. Our last graduate of the 2012 class is Dr. Tanya Enid Velez. Before I have them all stand up here on the stage, we are privileged this year to have 2 national awards. This is not something that happens every year, but as a faculty and using national criteria, we're able to nominate people for 2 awards. The first award is the Resident Scholar Award. It's given from the Association of Family Medicine Residency Directors and the North American Primary Care Research Group. You may or may not know that there are 450 family medicine residency programs in the United States of America. So this year we were privileged as a faculty to submit and receive as a winner for the Resident Scholar Award, Dr. Morhoff Alashkar. The last award is from the Society of Teachers of Family Medicine. We're able to make a nomination for folks who go above and beyond the ability not only to teach each other, but to reach down into the next generation of medical students and to light the flame of family medicine. It's been said about teaching, and teaching is not just the filling of a pail, but it's the lighting of a fire. And so we, as family physician faculty, recognize that in these 2 individuals. The first is Dr. Kashif Qureshi. occasionally we get to surprise people, and that's a delight of ours to do so. Before I call the class of 2012 on the stage, I just want to give you some statistics of who we are, or who they are, I should say. We're trained in family medicine to provide hospital care and outpatient medicine. This includes the care of children, moms, adults in the ICU, and our elders. Amongst these 14 individuals, they've seen over 25,000 people in the past 3 years. They have delivered over 1,000 babies, some of them by C-section. Our scores on our in-service training exam, which is an annual exam that we do in family medicine, over 50% of these people at one time during the residency scored greater than the 90th percentile nationally. We've had one individual score at the 100th percentile, and perhaps is one of the top people in our nation. We have research. Yes, please. We have research that's been recognized at national meetings to include our annual scientific assembly at the American Academy of Family Physicians. We had 3 poster presentations that were accepted last year. Of note, we've already had 2 accepted this year. We've had the Florida Academy of Family Physicians Resident Scholar of the Year. So of the 11 programs in the state of Florida with over 100 residents, we had the top selected resident last year. We also have someone who serves as the vice president for the residents in the Florida Academy of Family Physicians. We've also cared for patients not only in these United States, but in Ecuador, Nicaragua, and Mexico. And so this class has just been absolutely fantastic. They also just recently, with their leadership as residents, achieved the maximum 5-year accreditation of the ACGME, which is the Accreditation Council for Graduate Medical Education. These guys traversed years of change with grace and courage and laughter. If you notice, I haven't put any names with this at all because as a class, this is the way they've done it. They are people of excellence. It has been my privilege and our privilege as faculty to train with you and to be taught as well as teach over the past 3 years. And now, they're going to change healthcare and the people of the lives that they come in contact. There is a very famous king by the name of King Solomon, a Jewish king, and had a proverb many, many years ago that was written that said, a good name is more treasured than great silver. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. And so you guys have a great name. Your class, the class of 2012, and each of you individually, you're going to be remembered for a long time. You've made a big wave, and the residents and the faculty in the room are going to be caught up in that wave for a long time. So if I can call you up to the stage, and we're going to have our pictures, and with me, if you would, let me present to you the class of 2012. Take a few official photos, and then if y'all want to come down over 3 to 5 minutes, I hear that they're signing autographs as well. A few other comments. If you'll exit through the back right, so that way we can flow into our foyer appropriately. For the seniors, there are gifts for you on the marble counter out there as well. There's a photo booth, guys, in the back, courtesy of Lena and Ryan. And those of you at the tables, you're free to take those centerpieces home just as a memorial. So thanks again for attending. This will conclude our formal component. And just enjoy the galleries. The gallery is going to be open until 9 o'clock this evening. There will be no photo photography in the gallery, so if the security guards come and ask you to stop photography, it's just to preserve the integrity of the pictures. So again, if you would, join me in congratulating the class of 2012.
I'm speaking. Everybody look right into the lens of Lena's camera.
Lena.
Aren't they already? Haven't they been? I hope so. Sorry. Whoever's
She's way hotter than you.